I spoke about this before, but Star Fox needs something new to get the proper shine it deserves. I decided to put together a few of my thoughts and go into even more detail than I did before. If you haven't seen my last video on this subject, please do so. I referenced it a few times here. We need to delve into the universe more. As far as it stands, we really don't know much about Fox. Well, entry-level gamers don't. You really have to dig to get what's out there as far as character background. Depth isn't really emphasized on. I think the game goes farther than the Fox's past with his father James McCloud and even his mother. A game that shows Fox's youth may be appreciated. I understand that many of these games are very surface level and don't necessarily aim for lore upon lore, but maybe Nintendo could try this out and see where it gets them. A fleshed out narrative is never a bad thing. I don't know, but maybe anthropomorphic animals having a more patched together story isn't a seller for many people, but I think it'd be worth a shot. The next thing I want to talk about is where this game should go. Obviously, I feel like the Switch would be nice here. And 3DS would be nice too due to the huge install base, but if this game was really pushed right and was great for what it is, it could do a respectable amount on the Switch. Plus with the 3DS, I fear hardware limitations will be an issue. I want this game to be a heavyweight, like Star Fox's Breath of the Wild or their Odyssey. 3DS just couldn't bring that out in my opinion. The third point I want to talk about and emphasize is new. Nintendo is so focused on the past when it comes to Star Fox. Two of the most recent releases have been either remakes of 64 or reimaginings of it. It was a great game for the time, but the disjointed mission-to-mission gameplay is really old. We were making strides with Assault and Command. Even assuming you're not a particular fan of adventure, the game's former mentioned attempted to still retain the air wing combat a majority of the fan base enjoys, while still giving new angles of play to try. I like Star Fox Adventure, but you might not. In this regard, I get that I'm part of the minority. Nintendo is pretty much abandoning the idea of doing another adventure-esque title, which I'm okay with. More Star Fox is more Star Fox. But at least, meet me in the middle with a better Assault type of title. That way, we're both kind of getting what we want. You know, it's like, you know, you get your thing, I get mine. Another thing I touched on in my last video was the quote, need for online play. This was inaccurate. Obviously, you can have a great title and avoid online play altogether. And honestly, until something is done about the controls for these games, I think it would be fine not to include it. Dogfights are only so fun when you're fighting not only your opponent, but your own aircraft as well. I think if they wanted to push for multiplayer, it'd be cool to see different styles of play. Like, okay, in this room there are no R-Wings, but there are Landmasters, or there are no vehicles at all. But the on-foot combat would have to be amazing to make up for it. As cool as Assault was for having couch multiplayer, the on-foot controls felt awkward as hell. We've got to get controls under control. I promise, no pun intended. But it needs to be straightened out before we go anywhere near multiplayer for Star Fox. Just saying. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact is, for the past several decades, we've relied on 64 way too long. And frankly, this series could be so much more. We just need to give it the proper treatment it deserves. The last point I want to touch on came to me from Mario plus Rabbids, and that is, why don't we have more Nintendo on Nintendo crossovers? You know, aside from Smash Brothers. Obviously, it's a good promotional tool, but more of the same definitely couldn't hurt at all. Don't force it too much, but I don't think combining Star Fox with Metroid would be too far of a stretch. Give them a certain story that makes them cross paths in one universe, or I don't know what crossover you want to do. Look, I'm not the developer. I'm just saying, I'm giving you the pieces here. Make the gumbo. Put the pieces together. Something like this could definitely go a long way. Close the fans from one franchise and to another. Debunking one final thing from my last video, I spoke on how I'd like to see an anime or a short or a movie for Star Fox. Yeah, I take that back. Not because I don't think it would be good. I just think it would be so niche that only a specific amount of people would actually view it. I know I would, and people around me would, because we like Star Fox, but many people outside of that wouldn't, and the idea is to try to get Star Fox to the broader audience. So I just think experimenting as far as gameplay would help. Like I said, give us more of an Assault type of feel with better controls, more on-foot missions, tighten up the controls for the R-Wing, give us a deeper story, not necessarily forcing or pushing for the online play. It's not 100% necessity, especially if the controls aren't there. But those are my thoughts on it. What do you guys think? Would you like to see Star Fox come onto the Switch? Do you want to see a new 3DS game, or do you just not care about Star Fox in general? Are you over it? Are you over it, and do you just want to hear about the new Metroid game or the new Mario game? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I'll be sure to read them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. And as always, be sure to check in every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. for more videos just like this one. It's been a pleasure, and it always is. Logan of Fanatix Four saying, see you next time. Also, click the bell icon and subscribe. And don't forget to comment and be engaging. All right? See you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye. This is Logan saying, mission complete. Returning to base.